Good morning, everyone. This is Mark O'Brien, Director at CM First Group, and your host for today's seminar, which is entitled Hosting IBM I Applications on the Cloud. So a question out to the audience, are you aware that IBM has made some recent changes between Power hardware machines and their compatibility with the IBM I OS? If you're planning to do a hardware upgrade in 2021, this could be the perfect time to also consider a hosted solution. You could save a considerable amount of valuable time and also come out ahead financially as well. For those of you who may not be familiar with CM First, I'm going to pop up a screen that we have that just explains our company. We're headquartered in Austin, Texas. Our mission is to provide the most reliable, rapid, and cost-effective software tools and services to optimize and transform enterprise applications. We've been partnered with CA Technologies, now Broadcom, IBM, PTC, Health Systems, and Abacus Solutions. We've helped over 400 enterprises since 2010. And here's below there's some of the logos of our representative of our companies that we do business with. So a question that a number of you may have is, why are we partnering with Abacus Solutions? We've been a partner for almost 5 years. We at CM First are focused on software development, DevOps. We do a lot of work with the CA2E and the CA Plex communities, also the IBM I community from an application RPG standpoint. And we're very much focused on doing modernization and major transformations, be it at source code, database, or even the hardware level. Abacus, on the other hand, we use them really much as our IBM I hardware and cloud experts. They really understand the IBM I better than anybody else in the business. They're very focused on the OS and performing upgrades, and also have a number of services in high availability and security. And today, you're going to hear from two of their people. Chris Carlson is an account executive with Abacus and does a lot of onboarding and has helped us with several customer situations. And then also Josh Osborne, who is the CTO of Abacus, and we'll have a really good Q&A session that Josh is going to lead as well too. So before I bring out Chris, I have a poll question. We could pull up the first poll. The quick poll is, what version of the IBM OS are you currently on? IBM I operating system. The selections are either 6.x or earlier, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, or 7.4. So I'll give our audience about 30 seconds to answer. And a few more seconds there. Okay, so 2/3 of you are on 7.4 and 1/3 on 7.3. So that's really good news. That's the first time we've ever done that poll where we haven't had a few stragglers in even in 5.x or 6.x. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Chris Carlson, the account executive, and Chris is going to explain the ins and outs of managed hosting, and he's got a short series of slides for you and walk you through the actual process and a number of these different services.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Appreciate that in the introduction, and really appreciate everybody attending today to hear a little bit about Abacus and kind of let us talk about what we do, what we're all about, and our team and our relationship with CM First. So I just want to confirm, I'm a little less familiar with this. I'm more of a WebEx guy. So Mark, can you confirm? Can you see my screen right now?
I can see your screen. I would suggest you go up to slideshow and just start from the beginning. just give everybody the full screen, especially people on smaller screens if you're watching this on a tablet or a mobile device.
Yep, good point.
Excellent.
So
There we go.
there we go. Excellent. Again, everybody, appreciate you joining this morning to let us talk a little bit about our company and our relationship with CM First. Again, my name is Chris Carlson. I'm an account executive with Abacus Solutions. Give you a little background on our company. We opened our doors in 2000. I started with the company in 2001, and Josh, I believe, started around the same time. We started off primarily as a broker house, buying and selling used IBM hardware, I-Series, P-Series, Sun, Cisco, HP 9000, kind of all the major platforms. And we still actually do that today under our sister company, Abacus Hardware. And so we quickly started growing as a company and kind of getting introduced into new avenues, and then customers started requesting new hardware from us. So we became IBM business partners in about 2004, and then started selling lots of, obviously, new IBM hardware, mainly focused on the I-Series. We did a lot of P-Series as well, but our technical backbone and expertise was really on the I-Series front, with Josh kind of leading the way on that. And so we were doing lots of new IBM business. And then about 2008, we had our first customer ask if we could host the hardware for them. They wanted to get out of the day-to-day runnings of the AS400, and they wanted to take it off premise and host it somewhere. And, you know, we had kind of a meeting of the minds and knew that we had the expertise to do so. So that's when we kind of started our cloud and managed services and hosting business. Built out our first data center in 2008 that is still in use today at our headquarters in Marietta, Georgia, and started our I-Series hosting business, laser focused on I-Series, really no other platforms. We wanted to be not a jack of all trades, but a master of one. And we knew we could do I-Series better than anybody else, just with the technical expertise and knowledge on the sales side that we already had inherently from dealing in the IBM product since the beginning in 2000. So we quickly started growing with that offering and found that there was a large need for that out there in the marketplace. Customers were wanting to focus more on the application level, and they wanted to get out of the day-to-day runnings of the AS400, and we knew we could kind of be that perfect fit for them. So we kind of started growing quickly, as I mentioned, and quickly outgrew our data center, our first data center. And so we needed to choose a co-location that would be a good fit for us and for our customers. And so after vetting lots of co-locations, we decided to partner up with QTS data centers. If anyone's familiar with them out there, very large co-location company, about 26, 27 locations worldwide. We are in 2 of the data centers. Our production data center is at QTS Metro Atlanta, and our target data center is QTS Irving, Texas. And so company continued to grow as far as the cloud and managed services offerings go, and it's now the fastest growing business that we have at Abacus. And we've even we've maintained Abacus Solutions and split off some of our other companies that do the hardware selling, like Abacus Hardware. So Abacus Solutions is really just a business partner that sells IBM products, and then we are a cloud and managed service provider around the I-Series platform and the associated Windows environments that often go with that. So that's what we are laser focused on, and we're at 3 data centers now. We have over 150 customers, I-Series customers in our cloud today, with thousands of environments among those customers. So it gives you a little bit of a background about who we are and what we do. And then that kind of goes into this slide here. Abacus is an AS400 platform provider offering cloud managed services and IBM products. As everybody knows, the name has changed a lot over the years. Originally, it was, I think, System 36, and then AS400, IBM Power System, System I, or IBM I-Series. It goes by a lot of different names that IBM's kind of rebranded it over the years. A lot of you guys that have been around for a long time, like to still call it AS400, and we understand that. And you'll see on our website, we've got, AS400 and I-Series and IBM I kind of all over the place because we, refer to it on all those titles. Our company motto is our goal is to run the last 10,000 IBM I environments with and for our customers. And customers, it's a bit of a running joke with the I-Series. It's been a long-standing platform, and it continues to be a great platform for many, many customers out there. It's a bit of a shrinking platform, but our business is growing as we're seeing so many customers want to go to the cloud. And IBM recently put out a 20-year roadmap for the I-Series platform. So it's not going away anytime soon. And we're here to run that with and for our customers, for as long as needed. So we see a long lifeline for this platform. And again, it is a fast growing business for Abacus. So what we do for our customers, you've got options with us. Some customers want to jump right in and go full enterprise iCloud. And some customers want to dip their toe into the cloud, and that can be with simple backups or a cold DR plan. We kind of do anything and everything in between on the I-Series platform, all the way from enterprise iCloud, all the way down to backups, simple backups and everything in between. So it's whatever the customer needs are, and happy to kind of go into some details about that. And I'm going to do that here over the next couple slides. So we've got a couple different ways to look at our cloud. A little visual here that explains, you've got the Abacus cloud, then you've got customer premise, and then you've got kind of a hybrid cloud in the middle. And we'll go into some details on the next slide about what that is. But, there's different ways to do the cloud and to different levels that you can do it. So customer premise, you could have your production system on premise, and you could have DR or HA in our cloud. So that's kind of a hybrid solution where you're still on premise, but you've also got some cloud as a part of your platform as well. So jumping into the next slide, we can go into some of the details about the cloud solutions that we do have. Again, I mentioned we're enterprise iCloud. We are focused on I-Series. We've got an infrastructure that's full of Power 7s, Power 8s, Power 9s. So for our customers, we always keep them on the latest and greatest. As Mark had shown in the poll, that looks like you guys are mostly on I-Series 7.3, 7.4. That's great. You guys, this audience is obviously really up to date on the OS, keeping up on the latest and greatest. And we like to do that for our customers as well. And so we keep, a whole array of machines. We actually have them all the way back to Power 6 machines for our customers that might be stuck at older OS levels. Whatever the case may be, a lot of customers get stuck on an older OS or serial number because of their application. And so we can accommodate those customers. But we also have the latest and greatest systems for our customers that are up to date that are on 7.3 and 7.4. So we've got a whole array of Power 9s at both of our data centers that our customers can take advantage of. And when Power 10s come out, we will be investing in those as part of our infrastructure and give our customers the option to upgrade to Power 10 as well. So a nice offering there for all of our customers that want to be on the latest and greatest. A nice thing about being in the cloud is you don't have to refresh your environments like you do on premise every 3 or so years. We do that for you. So it's a good thing about being in the cloud. So that's enterprise iCloud. Entry iCloud, it's a lower level offering that we have. This is more for like test dev environments. If you just have a test dev environment you want to test out in the cloud, we've got an offering for that, very cost effective, and kind of lets you dip the proverbial toe in the cloud to kind of test it out and see how it goes. Cloud hosting. This is kind of what I was talking about. Enterprise iCloud, we're virtualizing your environments into our infrastructure. Cloud hosting, this is more for our customers that are, as I mentioned earlier, are stuck on an OS level or stuck really more specifically on a serial number. They can't get off the serial number because the applications won't allow them to without, heavy fees that are associated with it. We can actually come pick up your system, white glove service, and bring it and host it at one of our data centers. So it's like being in the cloud. You're staying on the same system you were on, but It's at our data center. It's being taken care of by some of the top I-Series engineers in the world that we have here at Abacus. And so that's another great offering for our customers that might be stuck on a certain system. We also have HA as a service. Obviously, a lot of our customers have business critical applications running that cannot afford any downtime, and we've got offerings for them around the HA. We can do HA from premise, and we do that via software replication called Quick EDD. And then also, if we're going to fully virtualize you into our cloud, we have an HA offering in our cloud as well that is stand-to-stand replication going from QTS Metro to QTS Irving. So got you covered on high availability. Backup as a service. This is another way to kind of dip your toe into the cloud starting with backup as a service. Obviously, backups of uber importance with the I-Series and all critical applications. We do that via virtual tape library, so we get you out of the tape business. There's no more tapes. We do it via data domain, where if you're on premise, we can put a data domain appliance at your location, and then it does backups via bare metal restore that goes from your premise to our cloud. So you got backups local and off-site, and that's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, 7-year retention plan. So fantastic way to do backups, clean, efficient, and get you out of the tape business, which I know a lot of customers like going to disk from tape. A lot more efficient way to do your backups. So I'm kind of racing through a lot of things here. When I'm done, we can certainly open it up for questions, and Josh can add anything that he'd like to as well. But I want to make sure that we get everything in. So I'm kind of going over at a high level view here. Disaster recovery as a service is another offering that we have. We've got restart recovery times of 12 hours or 24 hours. Our high availability actually should stay here. That's a start recovery time of less than an hour. So that's, constant replication obviously going on. Whereas DR as a service with 12-hour recovery, that's done via the data domain as well. So that's as good as the last save, which saves are done daily. So that one's a start recovery time of 12 hours or less. It's a little bit lower SLA, lower price point than the HA as a service. And then disaster recovery with a start time of 24 hours or less. This is actually a tape-based DR plan. So we do still accommodate our customers that are in tape. Obviously, a lot of customers out there on tape. And so if your requirement of the business isn't quite as critical, and then the business allows for 24 hours of downtime in the event of a disaster, we've got a very cost-effective DR plan here, where you would send us your last saved tape overnight via FedEx. It arrives to us the next day. We load it up into one of our environments in our cloud, and then you have access to it via a VPN tunnel. So nice cost-effective DR plan there. Obviously, with the AS400, there's lots of intertwined Windows VMs that customers need low to no latency on that. So we do have a Windows Cloud offering out of the QTS data centers as well. So it keeps those Windows VMs close, zero latency, and kind of lets you keep everything that is intertwined in the same data center in the same space. And so customers appreciate that. And not only do we host just the intertwined Windows VMs with the AS400, we can handle all your Windows VMs. So if you want to keep them all in one place, it's very cost effective in comparison with the Amazons and the Azures of the world. So something to really consider there as well. A lot of our customers take advantage of that. They start off with just their AS400 VMs, and then next thing you know, they want to move them all over. So something to keep in mind there. OS upgrade test flight. This may not be is valuable for this group because you guys are all already up to date on your OS 7.3 and 7.4. But let's say for the 7.3 customers, you want to go to 7.4, which is not a huge jump. Like the 7.1 to 7.2 and 7.1 to 7.3, those are bigger jumps. But obviously, you're upgrading OS. You're going to want to test that and see and make sure that everything plays well, applications and whatnot at the new OS level. So we offer an OS upgrade test flight where you send us a Save 21 tape. We load it up into our environments. We upgrade the OS for you. We give you access to it for 30 days plus or minus. We're not, it's not held to 30 days. You can have longer if needed. And then you test your environments at the new OS levels and make sure everything's going well prior to actually doing the OS upgrade, which we can do for you as well. So it's a nice thing that our customers use often before they go to new OS levels to test and vet the new OS level matched up with their applications and make sure everything works well there. So that's an offering that our customers take advantage of. Going to the next one. So that was all cloud services. This is more managed services. So this is for our customers that they want to experience the cloud, but they're not ready to leave premise yet, whether it's for security reasons or just unsure of the cloud offering on the AS400 platform. So we've got managed services for those customers. Backup management. Again, I mentioned we use data domain, send an appliance to your location and set it up for you that connects to your AS400, and then we manage the backups for you. The dailies, the weeklies, the monthlies, and the yearlies. And then it sends it across to our data center for backups offsite. Operations management. We download Halcyon software onto your system. That helps us manage your system so we can run the day-to-day operations of the AS400, the mid-levels of operations management and down. So it's like being in the cloud, but your system's still there in your data center. And then that leaves the customer to focus on the applications and the operations management around those applications, which is really where most customers want to be. We found with our customers that the day-to-day running of the AS400 can be a bit of a hassle for them. So we kind of take that hassle away and then let the customer focus on what they want to focus on, which is the application. High availability management. Again, when customers are on premise, we use QuickEd, which is software replication. It's very similar to Mimics and a lot of the other ones out there. But we vetted the different offerings, and Josh and team found QuickEd to work the best and most efficiently on the AS400 platform. So that's the one that we use with and for our customers. DR management, again, done through the management of the system, and we can do DR for you. You can be on premise and have your DR system in our cloud. In the event of a disaster, whether you use HA or DR, we've got a warm or hot target set up for you at our data center ready to go. And this is not pooling. We actually, you have a dedicated system always for you in our cloud. It's not pooled with other customers. It is slices that are there for you to use when ready, and then as long as needed. Maintenance services. We still do a lot with our customers that are on premise for maintenance. We are IBM business partners, so we can provide IBM maintenance. We also have a Abacus hardware maintenance offering for customers that IBM no longer supports the hardware they're on. We can maintain it for you. We have as I said, we started off as a hardware company buying and selling refurbished hardware. So we have a 50,000 square foot warehouse full of parts. We've got the best I-Series engineering team in the U.S. And access to all these parts right there in our inventory. So we do maintenance for a lot of customers on systems, older systems. Technology services. There's a lot of things that we could do around the technology. We can help consult and design systems for you as you see fit. Kind of size things properly to the size of your workloads and to make sure that you don't overbuy. We see a lot of our customers sometimes buy too much system for premise. So we can help design a system for you, whether it's in our cloud or whether that's on premise. Performance assessment, that's part of that. We can load some performance software onto the system to kind of see how much of the system you're using and make sure we size you properly in our cloud. That's the great thing about being in the cloud is when you're buying for premise, you're having to buy for the future because you're not sure what the future looks like. So you have to buy a large system to prepare for that growth. Great thing with the cloud is you only buy what you need. The infrastructure is all there, and we do the cloud virtually by the slice, and the slice is 3,000 CPW, 16 gigabyte of memory, and then however much storage you need. So we just size it properly to your current environment. And then if you grow, we can grow with you. The infrastructure is already there. And if you need to shrink, we can shrink with you as well. If perfect example, this what the country and the world has been going through for the past year. Obviously, some companies have had to turn down their business, and we can do that with you and shrink with you until the business starts cranking back up. So it's a great thing about the cloud is we can grow and shrink with you. So that's a lot of our managed services. And Mark, I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but
we're okay. Another 5 minutes will be fine.
Okay, great. Excellent. So as I mentioned, we're IBM business partners. We provide products. We provide new hardware as an IBM business partner, and we still provide pre-owned hardware for systems that may be discontinued, that may not be relevant for this audience because you guys are all on the latest OS, but we can provide upgrades to existing systems. We can provide older systems that are discontinued by IBM, so we can be of a lot of service there. Here's our certifications as an IBM business partner, a gold business partner, and so we can certainly service our customers that want to remain on-premise as well. A little bit about our resources. Our technical team, as I mentioned, I've been doing this since 2001. We have the best technical team that I've seen anywhere, and I've had customers that have said that to me on a number of occasions. And Josh, who's on the call, is our CTO. He is kind of the architect behind our whole cloud and our whole team. He's kind of taught the whole team, everything that he knows, as he is the best AS400 guy that I've seen. And so we've got a bunch of guys on our staff that have learned from him. We've got a young team. A lot of people in the AS400 world, it's a platform that's been around a long time. You don't see a lot of up-and-comers, but we have a young team. We've got a lot of guys in their 30s and 40s. We've got some guys in their 20s that are really AS400 experts on our staff. And this number says 30 plus. I think we had our kickoff call for the year earlier this week, and we're up to 37 employees now just on the AS400 Cloud and Managed Services team. So we're really proud of that, and it's a fantastic team. As I mentioned, the data centers we're in, our production data center for AS400 is QTS Metro. Target data center is in Irving, Texas at QTS. And then 1190 is our original data center. We affectionately refer to it as the retirement home. It's where a lot of our customers, we do a lot of our hosting out of there for our customers that are on older systems, archival, or just, they have to stay on an older serial number. We can host those systems, and we do that out of our data center at our headquarters just outside of Atlanta. This is big for, obviously, a lot of our customers and big customers, compliance and security. We've got a lot of certifications that are important to our AS400 customers: SOC 2 Type 1, SOC 2 Type 2, ISO 27001, GDPR alignment. So definitely things that a lot of our customers require. We've gotten a lot of those certifications over the last couple of years just to kind of attract some of the larger customers in the AS400 space. We've got a NOC team support. We've got a 24/7 NOC team that our customers have access to. Kind of how it works is we've got a portal that all of our customers have access to. This is direct access to our engineers with a 15-minute response time. So whatever the case may be, if you have some pending disaster, you can reach us through the NOC, through the portal, and you get immediate response from us. Also, even if it's just you want to do your annual DR test, which is included in the contract, you set it up through that portal. You just send a quick message saying, "Hey, I'm ready to schedule my DR test for the year." And so it's done through that portal, and then we take it from there. So a lot of fast response from our team that is a 24/7 operation. We've got a lab, a huge lab that's right next to our warehouse that we do all of our testing, our builds, development. It's kind of Josh's lab and the rest of the I-Series engineers that they can find out and figure out a lot of neat stuff and cool stuff, and also build, test, and ship all of our AS400 systems that are going out to our customer premise locations. And then we've got a whole logistics team that handles the shipping, and so we've got you really covered end to end on the AS400 platform. I know we're running a little short on time, so I'll try to race through some of this, but this is our we're platform as a service is our IBM iSeries offering, and this is kind of the matrix that shows the responsibility of the customer and the responsibility for Abacus, depending on if you're premise with an Abacus owned box, you're a hybrid where you've got your production on premise, but you're in the cloud for DR, or if you're full cloud. Full cloud, you turn over your production environments, your DR, HA, everything to Abacus. This is where the responsibility lies with each customer. And then there's a list of our customers. As I mentioned, we've got over 150 customers in our iSeries cloud. This is just a handful of them, and obviously thousands of environments, as some of the larger customers have many environments. I think our largest one has like 20 LPARs or so, and so that's we've got it all the way down to a small test dev LPAR, kind of everything in between. So really no customer too small or too big for our team and our infrastructure to handle. So that is the end of it. Kind of really quick high level view of what we do, but our partnership with CM First is fantastic. It really fits like a puzzle. They are obviously the application side, and we are the infrastructure side, the platform as a service side. And it's a perfect fit because we have a lot of mutual customers, and we just want to be able to bring our offering to the CM First customers and vice versa. So that's about it. Mark, not sure if you wanted to go into some questions there.
That's great, Chris. No, we have a little more housekeeping to get to. We do want to get to questions. Remind everyone that there's a question section on your dashboard for you to send questions into us. But right now, I've got another poll question that I'd like to pop up. Poll question number 2, which is, what is your level of interest based on everything that Chris kind of gave you a whirlwind tour there? What's your level of interest in evaluating IBM I hosting options? So we've got basically, could be just there's a curiosity there, you're low or no interest, you're doing everything in-house now, or a moderate interest. Often the boss wants you to know about what's going on here, or sometimes a new executive comes in and says, we should be looking at cloud services and hosted options and solutions, or a high interest. We have done work with a couple of customers that have implemented since the Q4 in 2020. And lastly, maybe some of you that are already implementing that or doing something along the lines of the cloud. Then organizers and panelists do not vote, only the attendees. So a lot of curiosity there, and then anywhere from moderate to high to we're already implementing a hosting solution. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Can you give me control? So now I'd like to introduce Josh Osborne, CTO of Abacus Solutions, to our community in the following way. He was introduced to the IBM AS400 way back in 1990 as a night operator. I don't know if you've got everybody beat on this call, Josh. It's pretty close. There are a number of people that were doing the AS400, even the System 38 back in those days. However, Josh did read every manual and service guide that he could find at the time. His curiosity continued to grow, and now he's leading a nationwide team of 15 IBM I specialists, or IBM IMC. Started working with Abacus as a customer in late 2001, and then a year later, joined Abacus designing IBM Enterprise Solutions in 2002. And I'll give you a quote. Today, I enjoy working with the team to continue building the enterprise cloud to provide our customers with the most resilient and fastest IBM I experience available. Even with our continued growth, Abacus continues to create an environment where creative, hardworking people can not only be successful, but also have fun. So Josh will field some of your specific questions about the process of hosting. And as I said, please send me some questions in here. I do have some with a couple of registrants sent me questions in advance. So my first question for you, Josh, is what are the latest moves from IBM I regarding the Power Series and OS compatibility?
Well, it was interesting from the first survey that we had a lot of customers that were stuck at the 7.1 level, and IBM kind of came out and responded to that recently by doing something I hadn't seen in a while, where they actually enabled 7.1 to still run on the newest level of Power 9 for a little while. So you've still got some options to run 7.1 in that space, and of course you still have the uplift fees and all of the penalties associated with it. But for the customers that are stuck down there, now it was refreshing to see that the people that are on here are mostly 7.3, 7.4. And I think we saw a big push toward getting current during the end of 2020 with our customers as well. So it's great to see the people getting current and getting those patches out there and on the systems. On the 7.4 front, we are seeing a lot more adoption and support for some of the resilient options on the iSeries. More support around the flash copy, and the iSeries has got some functions built into it that helps with that resilience around the hard drives and things. So it doesn't play quite as well historically with a flash copy scenario where you flash it and move it over to a new set of hard drives. And IBM released some technology refreshes and patches in that space that made it work more efficiently there. The system previously, when you would flash it, would sit and wait patiently for the original hard drives to show back up. And so now they've got it so that you can actually flag it and say, hey, I'm going to flash, and it comes up quickly on the other side. You have another question out there yet?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Next question, what are the essential elements of a solid disaster recovery plan?
So your recovery point objective and recovery time objective are the first places to start in that plan. Knowing what you want to protect and from a timing standpoint, and how fast you need to back up. Once you get that out there, and the next thing we push to is testing the communications. So we actually require that our customers that sign up for DR go through a test with us. That it's not just a compliance or for a checkbox. We want to make sure that everybody's on board, that we can recover your system, you've tested it, and that it's a valid test across the board. And then we put that documentation in place so customers can, year after year, not only meet their compliance, but we really can recover them if needed.
And you mentioned having both recovery point and recovery in a time objective. Do you recommend having both, or are there situations when only one or the other would be preferable?
Well, you have to know at what point you need to recover the data, so that how much data are you willing to have at risk in your environment. If you're doing the traditional tape-based backup, you've got 23 hours and 59 minutes is kind of the idea that you have at risk. So is the maximum if you're doing it nightly, and then versus a high availability, which is the traditional high availability replication software that is taking the last transaction over the wire. So now it becomes a question of the bandwidth you've got, how far behind is your Mimics. And then versus a SAN-based replication that is mirroring that operating system, and it's only the objects that are in memory that are at risk. So it depends on what your recovery point objectives are, and then how long are you willing to wait to get it back up. We've got customers that have systems that are 36 terabytes of data that using a tape-based solution, we couldn't even get a full backup done within 24 hours in that box. You've got to shift that over to a flash copy and SAN-based solutions that enable that machine to be recovered in minutes, not days.
Great. So next question is, in the event of a disaster, what should customers do first to fulfill the expectations of the business?
In the event of a disaster. So when the disaster, first we have to decide what the what the scope of the disaster is. So if we have a smoking hole where the data center, the production machine is completely gone, all network connectivity, everything, that's one type of disaster. And then another disaster that is where it's the entire production facility is gone from a hurricane took out the whole building. And so, deciding the scope of it and understanding what needs to be addressed in there. And so in the DR plan, business continuity plan, where we're going to recover and get going with that. So normally, the customers are going to engage into a call and define what their scenario is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to start that recovery based on that scenario for them.
Okay, great. I have one final poll question. We have a couple more questions to get to. I'm going to pop up a poll question first. And the question is basically, based on what you've heard today, what are some possible next steps? One option is that you'd like a remote meeting to talk through this in greater detail, or you're not the right person at your company, but let me introduce you to that hosting resource. I'd like to get a newsletter is always a popular option for people, and others will tell us if there's a group that we should be talking to. I might add that one person in Central Texas has just started a Facebook group, an IBM Facebook group for Central Texas. And since we're located in Austin, we're right in the middle of that. And it's a local or regional bank. So, which is interesting because there's still awful lot of banking customers that have AS400 or IBM assets as well too. Can we see the results of that poll? Okay, so some of you will have a meeting request, and the bulk of you are looking at a newsletter. That's terrific. Okay, now back to the questions. In the past year, obviously, there's been 2020 is an exceptional year. There's been a large impact to our workloads running on the AS400. How do we analyze the benefit to be able to either increase or decrease our compute storage without having to buy a new system to accommodate either that growth or to downsize?
So that's one of the benefits of being in the cloud space, because there's additional resources on tap in there. So let's say you're one of the businesses that suddenly saw your demand skyrocket versus shrink. If you look at the timeline to procure new hardware, get that workload moved over, I mean, it could be detrimental to the growth opportunity for the business versus being in the cloud environment. There's additional resources on tap immediately. We've got our cloud environment has petabytes and petabytes and petabytes of all flash storage. We don't use spinning disk in that space at all. So growing the disk capacity is a matter. It takes longer to do to sign the paperwork than it takes us to add the storage to machines. In the same space, processor growth and memory growth. Or the machines have terabytes of memory on them. So we're ready to scale the customers' environments like that. We also had a few customers that said our business was horribly impacted by this, and we need to save money to stay afloat. We need to scale our processing down. We need to scale things down, and so it's in order to save some costs. And so we work with them to size that environment down. Whereas if you call IBM and say, hey, I need to miss the next 15 payments, it's a little harder to coordinate.
Mm-hmm. Hey, another question. Thank you for that answer. Another question is, what kind of connectivity is needed between your customer and the hosted environment?
So the connectivity, most of the customers, the entry levels of this becomes a IPsec VPN tunnel, where they've got an internet connection and a firewall appliance at their side, and then that terminates to a firewall appliance on our side, and we do the security around that. That's the entry level of that. You can also do SD-WAN, and you can also do MPLS multi-point. So we've got a whole stack of diverse internet providers with redundancy in the firewalls and internet connections coming into our side. So we recommend having a redundant connection into the customer side as well. So internet connection is kind of the entry point, the baseline. And we found that the bandwidth requirements are actually quite low. The iSeries is not a bandwidth thirsty box. If you've got any closely connected applications, we can host those Windows applications and VMs so they're sitting right there with the iSeries with the 10 gig redundant 10 gig links to them as well.
Mm-hmm. Great. Last one. This a very basic kind of management level question would be, why should we just not go to IBM or AWS for this kind of a service?
Well, AWS doesn't offer the iSeries in that space. They've got some interesting offerings out there that are power systems, but it's not IBM I. The IBM offering around it. We've actually looked at all these offerings as we go through as well, and so they're basically offering you more of an infrastructure as a service. You're still responsible for a large portion of the system, and then you're also more of a hostage in that space to when they choose to do maintenance on those boxes. We did some beta testing with them, and when they said they're going to do some firmware upgrades on a machine, and I said, hey, we've got this going on during that window. They said, yeah, that's tough luck. we're doing our firmware upgrades, and that means everybody out of the pool. We're shutting it down. So in our space, from a maintenance standpoint, we send out a maintenance notification to a customer, and if they come back and say, hey, we've got this going on during that window, can you move it? Then we're going to work with those customers to make sure that we're coordinating those environments. So I'd say that one of the biggest answers to that question is we're big enough to provide you the enterprise solutions you want, and we're small enough to still listen to you. That'd be the best answer I got.
Okay, it's a pretty good one. Well, that is pretty much for our Q&A session. I want to thank our panelists today, both Chris and Josh, for their time. And here's how to reach us. You can send out an email at info@cmfirstgroup.com. And no need to drop by our office right now. But anyway, we hope that later on this year we'll get a chance to perhaps meet with you and talk about your needs in person. But for right now, I'm going to sign off. This is Mark O'Brien. I want to thank everyone for their kind attention today, and thank you very much for a really good interactive Q&A session. Bye bye now.
Thanks, everybody.